Welcome to the Inspiration, the podcast from Be Inspired. So we've got our three lovely ladies today. Got our product and development team.
Design.
Thank you. Am I going to need to introduce myself again?
You can
Okay.
introduce yourself.
So, hi everyone. I'm Stephanie. I am the garment department manager at Be Inspired. This is Gillian.
Hi.
Nice.
I don't need to introduce myself. Hi, I'm Gillian and I'm the senior designer at Be Inspired.
Cool.
I'm Lisa. I'm the garment technologist at Be Inspired.
Thanks for coming on the show, Trip.
Thanks.
That
We're
was
buzzing to be here.
so professional. So
And
professional.
This is
No, it's class. I think it would be just obviously get you guys on the podcast. We've just kind of been running through all our staff over the first 4 episodes, so just
wanted to introduce all our staff and sort of see customers want to see what goes on behind the scenes, and it's nice to interview people, see what they're doing. Obviously, we had Drew and Cal and yourselves, so it'd be nice to give people an introduction into what you do on a daily basis and see what goes into making the product that we sell to our customers. So, but to start with, I'd like to ask a question.
Nice.
So, we've been doing it for a while, and we wanted to have something that we could ask all our guests, and we've come up with what inspires you. So, Stephanie, what inspires you?
Right, so I was thinking of this, right. I don't think it's like a thing that inspires me. I think it's more like what's been. So, like, see whatever I've done before. I always want to beat it. It's like, see when it gets to like a new season, I'm like, right, what can we do that was better the season before? So I wouldn't say it's like a thing. I'd say it's like previously what we've done. I just always want to make sure that that's better, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, that's good.
I'd say that's
Like
mine.
That's good.
That's good, kind of like a competitive sense
Yeah,
to kind of get better.
competitive. I had to get better.
I think because mine is quite like the creative side and design side. Like there's so many things that inspire us, whether we go on like shopping trips or just like people in general, watching people in the
I
street.
love people watching.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah,
Don't you?
yeah.
People
It's fun.
sitting with a wee coffee at the side of the road.
I can't beat seeing what people are up to.
Yeah.
Or seeing people
Just
walking
people-
by. And
People seeing what's out there. Yeah.
Is there any, as a designer, is there any particular brands or any particular designers that inspire you, or is it just like a collection of like, is it individual pieces that you'd maybe see?
I would say a mixture of individual pieces. There's designers that I like, and there's brands that I like that you would kind of look to, that you think, oh, we would aspire to be them, or kind of be that sort of level. But yeah, a mixture of things. Just because we kind of pick and choose what we think will go for the brand based on like research that we've done. So yeah, a combination of things.
cool.
What about yourself, Lise?
Probably kind of much the same. Again, like people seeing what's out there, what other people do, like just things that are like a bit different or whatever.
Is there anything like out with work, like
That's what he has to say,
personally that
question.
inspires you? Do you know what I mean? Rather than like a work thing, is there anything like
Just like
that
life
inspires you?
generally.
Yeah, inspires you personally.
Hearing people's stories, like if someone's got a good story,
Yeah,
an
that's a good
interesting like kind of background, or like have like come from a place or whatever, I think that's always quite inspiring.
What kind of things are you girls interested away from work before we start diving into Be Inspired and like what it's all about? But what's that?
I'm going to make me sell it if you're old lady here.
Why?
I like jigsaws.
Yeah. I did ask you that earlier. You like a wee bowl of sweeties with your jigsaw.
Jigsaw.
Wholesome.
Music, I like raves, that kind of thing.
You like going to what?
It's a bit of a,
Did you
it's a
say
bit of a-
raves?
Quite the
Absolutely.
opposite end of the
Yeah, but you
spectrum.
just said you were away act like an old woman.
Aye, but I mean, it's like...
An old woman that likes raves.
An old woman that likes raves.
Takes her knitting. Raves.
Takes her knitting or jigsaws to the raves.
I'd say that. I like going out for dinner. Dinner's a
Food always.
Food's
Yeah.
number
I
one
think we're
for
all-
people.
we're
See,
all
especially
quite
since
foodies, aren't we?
COVID. See when like everybody's locked down and stuff like that. See when we come out of COVID, I feel people love going for food.
Aye.
Yeah.
I'd rather go for food and drinks than like drinks and like a
Out,
club.
yeah.
Yeah. I think we're just all at that age now where we all prefer food to alcohol.
Or a
Aye.
bit of both.
A bit
Yeah, a
of
little bit of both. I think that's
Yeah.
me, kind of.
I know.
What
I
about
mean,
yourself,
just gonna
Gillian?
sound really
Inspired?
boring.
Anything inspiring away from like what inspires you?
Literally.
Like
Walk the dog.
you love your
Just
dog,
going like I
dogs,
just like I like being outside. Yeah, just going like walks
I
or
think
just
seeing
going
like
out for the day. I
kind
just
of
love
like
that.
different
Like,
staff over the years is like
Yeah.
everybody's got such different interests. You can't
Yeah.
not many people have got the same. Like me and Mark are
Nah.
obviously quite similar with our golf and our football and our backgrounds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But when you bring in a new member of the team, they're completely different. Like your interests are completely different than Creason's in it. At least your
Yeah.
interests are probably different than.
I
Yeah.
think the things that inspire you change over time as well. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So like I was
Yeah,
obviously
probably.
we were talking about that question before in the office, and like I just asked a few of the people in the office just like as a sort of test, and I think say when we started this brand, the things that inspired me to start the brand or whatever are probably different than things inspire me now. Do you know what I
Aye,
mean?
that's
Because obviously when I first started the brand, it was probably an inspiration of like, oh, I don't have anything else. Like,
Yeah,
what am I going
I
to do?
have to do
My
this.
football
Yeah.
career's over.
Yeah.
I'm kind of almost like at rock bottom. Like, I need to make this work, and it's the sort of like pressure of that. And
Yeah.
now, probably my family, like Kiva, Amy, these are the things that sort of inspire.
Well, probably
us.
every season, and you guys know from a
Player.
product and development angle that like we've still got pressure every season to make this work,
Aye,
because
yeah.
you guys know more than anything that like it starts with product. I know
Yeah.
like we can sell the brand and sell the dream and like
I
do
think
what
that's
we're
it.
doing,
Yeah.
but
That's the hard part, is like making sure that we've got everything in that
when
collection
you-
that we need to have in.
when you
and,
need it.
and making sure, so obviously time wise for you guys, making sure
Yeah,
it's in, but
totally.
like making sure even from like the research stage that
It'd
we've
be,
got
it'd
all
be
the
class if you
trends
could
covered.
actually give us a rundown on basically what is
Yeah.
the
Kind of
weekly process.
process.
What happens on a week of like, right, Lisa's job is this, your job is this.
Mm-hmm.
Like even if you're preparing for a new season, what's the process like?
Like, well, I suppose starting off from kind of the start of a season, we would go on a research trip. So whether like we've been to Amsterdam, Manchester, or like wherever we decide to go.
What's involved in that research trip? You can tell people what's involved. Is that involved getting
Details,
chucked out
what
of
is
a
shops?
lot of
and
coffee stops for you too.
coffee
lot of
stops and
coffee
chucked out of
stops.
shops.
Lot of
Don't take
Starbucks.
any
Maybe
A lot of
photos.
Yeah,
sneaky
get in there.
pictures.
Lot of snacks, yeah.
A lot of sneaky pictures.
Yeah, just going around different shops, different brands that we like, that we could take inspiration from, having a look and seeing what other people are doing, just to see if we're kind of making sure we've covered all bases, making sure if there's new things coming through, like fit-wise, for
Yeah,
the girls,
brilliant.
that we've got that kind of covered as well. So, for example, we used to do loads of skinny fits, and we never done relaxed fits, but then that was stuff we seen coming through, so we've introduced that. And then once we've done all the research, we kind of collate that together into a report, and then we just sit down and have a look through and make sure we've got like a kind of checklist of everything that we want to include. And then, yeah, just kind of have that as an overview.
Yeah.
And then I'll go away, start designing, obviously, with you two really closely as well, making sure we've got everything
I
that
find
we
that start of that process quite overwhelming. Like, is it like, because for me at the start of every season, I get a bit like,
Yeah,
Ah, you
you
do.
get really stressed.
Never.
You get stressed. Is that done yet? It's on the list.
Yeah, basically. When is that? Who do you come in? Is it here? Yeah.
I'm like, I've not even
Marcus
drawn it
Leaving
yet.
is-
I'm like, tell them it's done.
Like, I told him it's in sample, it's
Obviously,
fine.
other than myself putting that pressure on, do you find it
Yeah.
overwhelming until you start like getting into a flow and then things come?
In a sense, but I get really excited at the start of a
Yeah,
season because I
that's
feel
my
like
favourite time.
Yeah.
it's the good bit where you've got so
It's, like,
many
fresh.
ideas, but it's then you can't actually draw or work fast
Like,
enough to
quick
get it all
enough, yeah.
down.
Yeah.
Like onto CAD to then visualise it all. So it's then like knowing what to prioritise, because if the girls are placing things in different countries, we've got different lead
Yeah,
times.
different
So
lead times. Yeah, I think that's what I quite like the start, because it's like you look at what you did the previous season,
Yeah.
you look at the reports, what's
Reviewing
sold well,
things,
what hasn't.
yeah.
You build like what product we need, and then I feel like we're all quite collaborative at that stage, because it's like, right, what fits we need, and then Lisa will get them, and you're looking at like different colours and stuff like that. So I think that's
Yeah,
my
because
favourite.
Lisa, you
Yeah.
deal
My
with a lot
favourite.
with the size charts and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
obviously like lab dips and coming in. I think for people watching this, it's probably a good thing for them to watch or listen, that they understand what actually goes in the process of making a t-shirt. I think a lot of maybe startups, and there's nothing wrong with that, is you get a lot of stock hoodies
Yeah,
and
uh-huh.
stock t-shirts made, whereas like a logo just gets put on the front of
Yeah.
it,
Yeah.
and it's like, oh, I've got this clothing brand. It's like that's, some people have got to start where you've got to start, but like 10 years down the line, like we don't do it.
No.
Like we didn't do that. So it's like
Everything's custom, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
it's just
everything's
that custom made right from it. Like you're making tweaks on size charts
Yeah.
constantly, aren't you?
Always like reviewing how things have performed previous seasons, or like that updating for trends, specific trends, more kind of fashion stuff. How can we like even look at like returns? Is there anything we
Yeah.
could like
Yeah, okay.
like freshen up from then? How can we move? How can we
So even
improve
explain
kind
the
of thing?
process. Obviously, Gillian will design the product. It'll go out for sample and it'll come in, and then that's sort of when you come in
Yeah.
with like the sizing, and then you can change fits for there.
Yeah, we like check how samples measure when they come in. Obviously, we have like the spec is organised at like before it's sent out kind of thing. Then when samples come in, they'll be like measured, and then we'll fit usually on
Usually
Mark.
on Mark. Mark's still the
model.
fit model.
Got
Got to keep in shape, mate.
That's it.
yeah,
Got to keep.
First time
making
I've been called
sure
a fit
like
model for a while.
Nice.
Heard it here first.
It's not.
We train them in for a younger model soon.
Not at all, don't worry.
This is not just like fit as well, like construction, like making sure like the garment's like actually viable, that it like works for what it's meant to work for. You can move in it, you can like it's functional, that kind of
You
thing.
do all the wash tests, stuff
Yeah,
like that.
Yep, we've got the washing machine.
Yeah, the wee washing machine
Aye.
through the back.
My best pal.
Making
Sometimes
sure
my
the-
worst enemy.
As if these things wouldn't come in fit for purpose.
But yeah, no, it's good to get for people getting insight
Yeah.
into what actually goes on and,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
making a t-shirt, or making a
Yeah.
hoodie, making a cargo
Yeah.
pant.
I think the
Yeah.
things
It's
that
a
go
lot
right
more than
and
what you think.
the things that go right and the things that go wrong, like I'll maybe put something on a tech pack in the factory, I'll maybe pick it up incorrectly and it gets in and
Yeah.
Lisa's like, is this pocket meant to be functional? And it's like the pocket's like sewn shut or something.
I have to go off
Well, I think
Nice.
that's what
You know.
I
Classic
just,
Diddy
I just sort of
pocket.
go back to the start a wee bit as well, because obviously Stephanie came in first and things have changed a lot,
A lot.
since you came in. So
Yeah.
explain what it was like when you first came in.
It was quite chaotic, like I would say, and I think like from then until now, the fact that we've got like design in house, I think that makes a massive difference because like me and Gillian work, like the three of us work really close together. But like
Because
when
we
it comes
outsourced
to
the design
we
start.
outsourced that for a while, but I think like I say when we come at the start of a season, Gillian's really open. If I'm like, right, I've saw this, what do you think of this? And then she'll draw it up, or Gillian will have like loads of boards together and we'll go over it together and she'll be like, I've got this wee guy over here, I've got this over here, what do you think? Like, I think that's good because I feel like we've got a lot more control of that. And I think we actually look back at what we've did a lot more as well.
Yeah.
Fits are a lot more consistent, like we do fit reviews quite a lot. Yeah, just there's a lot more processes in place which I think makes the process a bit smoother for
There's a
me
lot
anyway.
more data as well, like whereas you
Yeah.
maybe didn't do that as much
Yeah, we
before.
never did that before.
The reports and things.
Yeah, a lot more reporting. Yeah, just overall like a lot more organised, I would say.
because we're still doing all the buying as well. Like when these samples come in,
Yeah.
the process of doing the tech packs, send it to factories. You guys are liaising with the factories non-stop on a daily
Yeah.
basis. Different ones that we work with.
The factories are good, I would say that, like working in previous places and then coming with you, it was a pure breath of fresh air, like working with these suppliers because you've been working with them for so long, so you've got really good relationships
What
with them.
was the difference from working with previous? Was you hit with targets? You had to like achieve a certain price for
I would
a.
say a price, yeah. Like, whereas here, you don't mind if we had a zip on or we had a pocket on, and it's a little bit more because then we take it to the marketing team and then they have to like show that across so that the customer then knows why it's going to be a certain price.
I think
Whereas
yeah,
before,
it's like
it was just like the cheapest
Yeah.
cheapest you
Yeah.
get it, fastest
think-
you could get it, and it would come in, and maybe wouldn't measure right, it would wash terribly. But it then
But did they-
Accept it because you were kind of
Did
limited.
they just accept that?
Yeah,
Just for a price?
majority of the time, yeah, just like it's commercial in it. Get it on a boat, it's commercial.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would say that was really good. Like
The breath of fresh air with
Does
the
it give
quality
you a bit
that we
more
actually
pride in what you're
have.
producing than you had before?
yeah,
Yeah.
I would say so. Yeah, I think because it was such like it was a smaller company as well when I started, and that was like 5 years ago now. Like you do feel like you're part of it, whereas the place I worked before, we weren't the brand and we weren't the factory, we were the middleman, so you never really had like
There was no like ownership.
ownership of anything.
It must-
Personal pride in what
Yeah,
you're doing. Like,
yeah.
like I
Yeah.
produced, it's like it must be a nice feeling when you see people out wearing
Oh,
being
it's
inspired
such a
product.
nice
that
The
you've
amount
worked
of
so
sneaky
hard on.
pictures we take, you're
Or
like
like-
down the supermarket, you're like,
Oh,
let
do
me
you?
see
Yeah,
that.
do you do that? Yeah. I do that.
Now.
Yeah,
I
just
still
look at
get
that.
I
If
love
I see
seeing-
somebody and stuff, I still get a buzz.
Yeah, I
of,
love
like,
seeing
it.
like, people have actually gone out to pay the money for a product.
Yeah,
we've,
I
I know
like,
you want to be
come
like,
up
that came out of our heads.
I know.
I don't
Where's
because the one
where's the type of places you would see the product? It's interesting to know, like, because I go a lot of football at the weekends, and that's where I'm seeing it at, is like kind of on the terraces, or like
Yeah.
not just like professional games, but maybe like lower down junior level and stuff like that.
I would say.
It's just like
Yeah,
kind of
like
if you're
in town, that kind
Yeah,
of thing.
yeah.
I see it everywhere
like
now, didn't you?
shopping.
Just
The
like
festivals as well.
aye.
Like I've been a while since being at a festival, but yeah, I saw quite a lot then, a lot of like two pieces. I think now, if I was to go to like see Creamfields or whatever, I think you would see a lot more of it now
Yeah.
because it's like so where it should be, like it's so bang on trend of like what somebody would
Yeah.
wear to
Yeah,
that, like that
sure.
kind of technical.
I think it's funny because a girl in work, Daryl, her son's just turned 18 and he was wearing it to a
Oh,
rave the
yeah,
other
yeah.
day, so I was like,
Yeah,
that's quite funny. Do you know what I
That's the
mean?
kind of thing that you would wear.
It's nice just to see it
Daryl
on
was saying that, like all
people
the
as well.
like him and his pals are like all
Like,
over
totally
being
buzz
inspired
off
and
it.
they're loving it just now. So that shows that kind of what we're doing is
Yeah,
like that
it's all
next
working.
wave, that
Yeah.
next audience
And
is
that
like
There's
Kind
like
of-
another next kind of generation
Next
coming
gen.
up. Like,
Yeah, definitely.
that kind of like evolution stage between changing from the that will be 33 for the
Uh-huh.
new brand. And
I was going to ask you about that.
That was a journey.
Obviously, we'd started the brand and then we sort of rode that journey up until like 2019 with a sort of certain trend, and then that sort of trend's gone off, and we've sort of reinvented the brand a little bit.
Yeah.
How did you guys find that as a process?
got to trust the process.
You got it. There we go.
Had to get it in.
By the way, that's not bad.
10 minutes, trust the process.
Got one of them.
Why do you say trust the process, Gillian, actually?
It's actually on one of the t-shirts coming out next
Yeah,
couple
it's
of
on
weeks.
the back of one of the t-shirts.
Is it
Is it
coming out.
because
Yeah, it's on the
Yeah.
back. Oh,
is
you
it 'cause you had to keep telling me and Robbo to trust the
that's
process?
amazing.
you should know
Just
that.
just in
You should know
general.
that, but you're not being here.
I've been on mat leave.
Matt Lee. Matt Lee.
And
be
it's
back.
really weird. It's good though. Like it's good seeing product that
How
I
does
haven't
it-
worked on.
That's a good,
Is it
good
weird?
question.
I
How does
feel
it
like
look
a
on the
customer.
outside a little bit? Because you're
Oh, it
in
looks
there,
amazing.
but you're on maternity leave now, so you're like looking in because we're not even like feeding info. Like we've kind of kept out because you're on maternity leave. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
So it's like
Although I'm
even
like,
when you were in the
I know.
other day.
She's like, send me pictures from the photo shoot. I'm like, Rob was just sending this one over. Mark's just sending this one over.
when you were in the other day, and basically Lisa gave me a death stare because I went, oh, by the way, you should see this product we're getting from this factory. It's like, it was just like, oh, it's class quality. And she's like, like it's dirty. It looks as if she's on maternity leave. How dare you say that? Leave it out. Like,
Keep secrets.
couldn't help
It's actually
myself.
quite interesting to see what you think, because obviously we can get caught up in what we
Yeah.
do, and it's like you take it for granted that we make nice product. Do you know what I mean?
I
Whereas
think like when you're in it, you pure take it for granted that when you show the customer, they get it.
Yeah.
But whereas now I feel like a customer because I'm not in it, I get it. So I think it shows that like
yeah.
we're doing the right thing. Like
Stuff's looking good now,
everything's
isn't it?
looking great.
Yeah,
aye,
we were
it's-
saying that last night.
looking
Marcus
really good.
especially was like, that's the way the brand's looking on the socials and stuff. It's like it's something we're really proud of at the
Oh,
moment.
definitely.
Like, and just like the feel, like how like that looks class. Like, I really want to be part of this brand.
Yeah.
So,
all the stuff in the photo shoot looked amazing.
yeah, the photo
Yeah,
shoot
it
was
looks
class.
brilliant.
Really good.
I think
Looks
that's the
really good.
best part when you see everything come together.
You
Like
see it come to
especially
life.
like throughout production, it's so easy just to get bogged down by like stuff coming in, and you don't have a lot of time and all of that kind of thing. But
Yeah.
How do you find it working on like a small team? Because I think people maybe look at Be Inspired now and say we should really have like a team of 50 staff, or well, we've always
Yeah.
kept it quite tight, like the amount of staff that we've got. So
'Cause everyone kind of does everything.
like
don't
it.
they? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
like it. I think because we do have such a close like
work.
relationship, we'll all have our own roles and we'll take ownership of that role. And because we work so closely with you as well, we know exactly what you want, which helps because we know the way you work and you know the way we work. So
I
like
don't know
you
how you do that, because I don't know how one.
we just tell you what's right.
you guys were involved in like the rebrand as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not
Yeah.
like it wasn't just me, Mark, and say Drew at the meeting regarding the rebrand and
Yeah.
stuff like that, and like the brand story that we're putting out there. So it's like how does it feel like kind of like being included in that? I think like we tried to make you guys feel as
Yeah.
included
I
in
think
the
we
brand
said
as
it's
well.
not our brand, it's everyone's brand. Do you know what I mean? The
You,
people that-
you just make us all
Feel
generally
like
feel
that,
like
so
that.
yeah,
Like
I'm
it's
really part of the team,
all
like-
of our brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's good because I think when staff feel like that, you get more out of them. Whereas if you're coming in, it's not like it could be your job 9 to 5. Whereas like I think the three of us see it as like that's your career. That's part of like you
Yeah.
think about it all the time. Like you might switch off, but then at night when you're on Instagram and you see a hoodie, you're like, oh, I quite like that wee detail. Screenshot, send to Gillian. What do you think? Blah blah blah. Like I don't really think you switch off when you feel like you're
Yeah.
that much.
I think
a
when it's
part of
something you
it.
enjoy as well,
Yeah.
it makes such a difference. If you
Yeah.
didn't enjoy it, then
Yeah, it'd be class
Yeah.
if we did get that mad growth in like these international countries, so that everybody would see the like the like a mad boom, so that the people would be like, I've created that. Do you know what I mean? And
Uh-huh.
that's like, well, obviously you guys have come in at different times. With me and Mark have seen that right from the start. I've been
Yeah.
like, and then different people coming in and out, and like especially people like say Drew or Cairo who have been here right from the very beginning, and they've been through that. So it's like it'd be class if you then seen like,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
that's what I'm
Got
doing.
that.
So like taking it to that level, it'd be
Yeah.
brilliant.
but that's definitely the aim. I think that's what kind of drives us all as well.
Yeah,
It's like
definitely.
help and make it bigger. So
we're in it.
Very good.
We're
We're
in
in
it.
it.
I know.
So,
Footed.
have you got any highlights from your time at Be Inspired? I'll ask you first, Stephanie.
Call her Sunday name, don't you?
must
Sunday,
say
Stephanie.
I would say
So I roll on it.
I think we've got like you're saying, Robo, like I think the only thing I wish is that I had been here from the start, like to properly see how it's went from that. So I think when we brought out the women's range, that was a buzz for me. Like you came to us in the January and you were like, right, we want to launch this in April. I was like, give me May. we had it in June.
I think I might have wanted to launch it in March.
Mark
might
would
have
launch it
might
like
have got pushed
February.
back a wee bit.
About 2 weeks.
And I think like seeing that from start to finish, like first samples, how some of the samples came in, then we reworked them, like the kind of 3 mini collections that were within that were all, you could kind of merge between each other, and then going to the photo shoot and seeing it there, I was like, that's amazing. Like you've took that from nothing to this, and I think that's probably one of my highlights.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I think like sometimes does having a small team affect us in a little bit as well. Whereas like, because like I'm looking at from like a team point of view, is everybody can do everything.
Yeah.
But like, see with the women's stuff, for example, if we had like that's one person's job and they didn't do anything else.
Yeah.
But like where everybody dips in and out, and like we're probably like that as well. We probably dip in and out. The marketing department, dip in like your department. We're like, right, we're away on the photo shoot. Do you know what I mean? And so it's like,
I think it's like obviously the men's stuff is me and Stephen's focus. So like we put all the effort into that because that's what we know and that we know how to do it. Whereas like if somebody doesn't take the focus of something else, it doesn't get our focus, which is difficult sometimes. Do you know what I mean?
Like, I think it's hard when it's like it's a men's brand, so like that is going to be your focus. It's not to say in 10 years.
the women's photo shoot was class. It was like a completely different experience than the men's shoot.
Yeah.
Just in like when
like how much prep and stuff.
And the hair and makeup and
prep
the
involved
time.
to get it on the money. Do you know what I mean?
All accessories, like all of that, all the styling,
Yeah.
it's all different ones. What's your highlight?
What have you got?
I think it's difficult. There's been so many good things, but
Nice.
which I like. I think just seeing things when it goes to like the photo shoots, or seeing people out wearing it, or like see when you send a picture of like a famous footballer or whatever. I might not always know who they are, but I'll find out. Wearing it and everyone's buzzing off that.
I was like, oh, that's good.
I know.
I
Just
was
say,
like, that's it.
say to the guys, that's class.
No, it's usually him. He'll say, "I'll be like, have you seen him wearing that?" I'm like, I don't know who that is. Oh yeah. I'll follow him on Instagram. Yeah, probably that. Yeah, getting things. I think because you give us so much creative freedom as well, it's good when there's things. So obviously we're dead collaborative as well. But then if there's something that you've come up with, you're like, and it sells really well, or it does really well. Like I would say that's a highlight when you see people really
Something
liking the
be
product.
popular,
Yeah.
What about yourself, Lise?
Every day.
Give the girl a medal.
What are you after?
I think just like, again, I've only been here a couple of years kind of thing, but even in that short amount of time, like seeing how we've kind of evolved with like rebranding and like kind of switching from what we were before to something that's really, really current and really cool, and how that's changed, especially in terms of like what I do, like with fits and stuff like that. Like that's
I'd love to see. It'd be interesting to see like the size chart or a fit of
To
a
what it used
product
to be, what it is now.
to what you're doing now.
Yeah.
Even just like because
I
we
think just the way that we have changed, you guys have gone through quite a lot because we have changed like
It was
from a
so
price specific
different.
style
Yeah.
that was really on trend at that point,
Yeah.
and then trends and things changed, so we've had to. So the trend that we're on now, I think we're bang on trend.
Yeah.
But
It's kind of like a new brand.
It's trying
almost.
to do it in a
Yes,
way
it
that our
is.
customers like, whoa.
yeah, it's still
Yeah,
staying
it's
staying
like
true to
yeah.
us. Like,
Yeah.
I think there is that. I think there's
Yeah.
certain people who are like, whoa, that's like so different. But then I think there's a lot of people, like you say, Daryl's son, that's saying,
they'll move with the
and like
times.
my kid's son, that would be definitely
Surprise.
Owen's mates, sorry, who are now like constantly wearing the stuff because they're like, oh, it's class, I want it.
Yeah.
That football, where's that? Like, I want that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, it's definitely. So what's the next plans we're working on? Gillian's the one
I'm
that's
I know.
leading this. We're looking at to work a bit more in advance, didn't we? Because
Yeah,
I think that's
so-
one thing that it's a challenge for us is like working so close to
I think that
market.
comes from me
Yeah.
and Stephen a little bit because we're very impatient, so we want stuff there and
Really?
then. So working in advance is quite difficult because
Yeah.
like
I
you
think
want
it's
stuff
hard not
there
to
and
get
then,
bored
so
of the
then like
product.
waiting for it's like,
Yeah.
oh jeez, I want that in now. But
Yeah.
like I think going forward it has to happen, and then we can use our like impatience on other areas like photo shoots and marketing. and
We'll just
things
hide the
like
artwork in the sample so you've not seen it too much before that season comes
Yeah,
out again. We'll be like,
that's the trick, innit?
surprise!
that.
Yeah,
Not letting them
stash
see
them
it too
away.
much.
Yeah, so we are going much more further forward than what we have been. So we're almost at the end of fall winter 23. Everything should be
Nice.
hopefully in soon. I know we're still far in
Well done,
advance.
girls.
Steph's like, yes, I'm
and
coming
then-
back.
Coming back to a few days
I
off.
might be back in September.
No, I've done up till then. I'm back January.
Then so we're starting spring summer research for spring summer 24 next week.
Yep.
Wow.
Which for us is very far in advance.
Yeah.
Have you organised where we're going yet?
What's that, sorry?
Have you organised where we're going yet?
No, I did look at flights, so
I think that's funny. I think my keep in
couldn't
touch
find
days
good
are going to
ones.
be around that time.
They're passing Blair on to your mum again. Mum,
Thanks,
there's
Mum.
look after the
No.
new one.
Yeah.
I was trying to look at Madrid and what was the other one you said? Milan,
Milan. Yeah.
Barcelona.
What's the reason? I know you could maybe elaborate on this, but like, what is the reason for working so far in advance? Like, is it factory lead
that
times,
you
getting
guys?
product here, being
Yeah,
prepared,
yeah,
like
both
bit of
of it.
wholesale? Like, are we looking to get into stores
Yeah.
or?
All of that, all of the
Yeah,
above,
all the above.
really.
More lead times are, I suppose, you are working a bit different now. So
It
The
gives
lead
us
times
more
have been
time.
an issue recently, haven't they?
It gives us more time to develop the product as well as we get it in, and then same for you for placing.
Yeah, so you got a bit more time to kind of just make sure you get it how you want it, rather
Yeah,
than
when you
being
want
like pushed to
Commercially
I don't
accepted.
know.
yeah,
Well, it's something we've ordered off like a bit of paper before, haven't we? A
Yeah.
CAD drawing is
I
like,
think it's good we can do that now. Whereas before we used to get so many samples and we'd be like, take that, take that, take that,
Yeah.
take that. But now I think
Be more selective.
we're
Yeah.
being a bit more
Yeah.
selective. It's better on.
I think
doing it
because
that
we've
way
got more of a
sometimes, I feel
focus,
anyway.
yeah, of where like we are as a brand.
Yeah.
We know exactly what we want in that collection rather than getting so many samples and then kind of cherry picking the best things from it. We're getting more time to actually develop the product that we want. So then the samples we receive are what we want, and then we
Yeah.
can place orders on it
Yeah.
rather than getting like 5 different things and then taking one of them.
There's some things we've really wanted to have or release, but we've not released them because we've not got them exactly how we wanted them, and
Yeah.
then they end up getting like put to the sort of
Yeah.
wayside a little bit. Whereas if you get a bit more time to develop them, you go,
Yeah.
right, I can get that in exactly how I want it, and then it's part of your collection. You're like, right, that really works. Like,
Yeah, that's better because you especially want something that you want to sell to the customer, like
And
because
you're
it
actually
represents the
happy with.
brand. So you don't want to just be like accepting
yeah,
anything.
by having
which is
these,
a good thing.
this plan in place, I think it allows us. I think we've all the 5 of us all spoke. It's like be inspired, and maybe next step is to have a bigger presence on the high street. In stores, we're very much direct to consumer. Probably 99%, I would
Yeah.
say, like across the world, just through our website. So I think having
either
a
at your
plan
own,
in
either
place.
your own stores or wholesale. As
Yeah,
well, you know what I mean?
right.
I think that would be big for us.
You girls have been working with wholesale as well. It's not something that is that what you've done in previous jobs, or is it something you've kind of learnt on the job and saying, well, this is
No, I
working
was
with a
at-
sales agent, because that's
I
what we do.
never-
We've got
yeah,
a
I
sales
suppose
agent in
we did, yeah.
Manchester, so
Yeah,
Quite
you would
a
work
lot of
with
different sales
you'd work
agents,
directly
didn't
with your
But you would
salesman.
work directly with your salesman and directly with that customer.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
customer and the buyer and what they wanted. Like, yeah,
because
Yeah, it
I
was a
think
bit more-
anything we've found is like, like their budget's spent for that season. So like literally like we come in, we're making spring summer 23 like what's getting released at the moment, and it's like we're then designing that kind of like February, March to release it now, and like the big retailers, your like say your Flannels or JD Sports or something, are ordering like
yeah,
that
so
far in advance,
Yeah.
ASOS or whoever. So we are potentially going into Zalando pretty soon, so that's kind of moving that
Yeah,
way.
it's
So
exciting.
it's
Yeah.
exciting. That's
That was a-
kind of.
That was a
I don't
shift.
think people realise how big Zalando is in the EU. So
Tell me about it.
obviously with Brexit and stuff like that, we found it a
wrong?
challenge.
Yeah, I'm like, what's happened since I've been up?
It's finally been signed.
It's been
Oh,
signed.
yes.
Took him a week.
Jeez.
Three.
it's okay.
It took me a
Committed
week,
in
it
the
took me a
end.
week to get somebody to say, yeah, let's sign it.
Right, okay. Should ask me.
I know,
Sign it.
I know, I should have to be fair.
Get it
Every
signed.
time I went to sign it, it's like,
Yeah.
oh, should we check that? I was like,
No,
okay.
sign it.
No,
should
no,
we
we're
check that
checking
again?
stuff.
No, no, we're
I'm
checking.
going to say, oh, no, maybe we should check that. I'm like, right, we're going to sign this or what?
So where
Is
do
it
you,
signed?
you girls see the brand in the next few years? That would be the next
Zalando.
question. Zalando. In the next few years. Next few years, that would be.
Mark's got it signed, Zalando. I would hope more key accounts, yeah, like in wholesale. Because
I
I
think the
definitely
problem
like
is,
the
like,
products.
I think the problem is, like, it's like, for us, it's like, what key accounts? Do you know what I mean? I don't know if the way we've got our brand now, I don't think it's as easy to buy on the high street as it was before. I think where we sit's like a nice niche, like bang on trend, like product brand, and whereas like don't know if like JD's where we sit
Yeah,
our
I know
first
what you
time.
mean,
It's
it's
not
kinda
that was where
changed.
we were previous. I just don't know if that's where we sit
We
now.
are
So
now.
I don't know what key accounts we really. What
it's
would
true.
you say? Where would you
Probably
say
more
we'd
like a
sit?
flannels.
Yeah.
If Tessuti wasn't what happened to Tessuti, I would say that would kind of be like a good place to sit.
Yeah, like we
'Cause we're
we've
not
done a
as-
bit of research. So I did just walking about the shops, had a coffee,
Of course.
and just like seeing it, and that's the
and pizza.
question that came up between me and Mark is like where do we like where would what shop would our stuff really be
I
in?
think it helps us
Does it-
online. I think that's great for us
Yeah.
online because it's like, well, you can't go to the shop and buy that product. You can't go to the shop and buy that like cargo short in
Yeah.
the technical fabric we've got or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Whereas like I think in a wholesale that's an issue because a wholesale's like where do you sit? Do you know what I mean? So that's something I
Yeah.
think.
Like, it's obviously like the product we're making is working. Like the cargo shorts go out in the market and like they're done in they're sold at pretty much sold
Yeah.
at
8 days or something.
8 days. So
No,
the
so good,
just
isn't it?
lucky
Yeah,
the
thanks,
next
Jack.
batch is coming
I
on
know.
Thursday.
Like, please stop, please stop, please
They're
stop.
actually going online tonight.
Clap,
Drew,
you
get
can
them
make
online
things
tonight.
That's something I like. That's one of them. Like from our point of view, that's what we find difficult. Being part of that is like, how hard is it to get the right amount of stock to order and then restocking from your point of view?
You gasped there, Steph.
I think sometimes you trust the process.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
there
there
we
you
go.
go
in your
again.
gut and
But
like,
it's
Buzzword.
like that order that we did last Christmas, just before Black Friday with the cargos, where we're like, do we? Do we not? Do we not? And I'm like, just do it. Sometimes you just got to have like faith that you know that product shit hot. It's
I
going
think
to
your
come in
gut
and it's
feeling
going to
is
sell.
sometimes
I
with
think you
product.
can-
Even
I
those
think-
Sakai,
yeah, I
even
think
those
so.
Sakai shorts, probably we probably should have.
Yeah,
we knew they were going to work.
I
We
know.
probably should have
I
ordered
know.
even more than we already have. Do you
But
know what I
now,
mean?
hindsight into it, because
Yeah,
at the time we're like,
exactly.
they're going to come in and we're going to be chasing the sales for summer. We'll like come in, then it'll just go on sale. So
We say we're going to learn every season, but we
I
don't.
think the uncertainty.
I think it sounds like he's a learned.
the world uncertainty causes issues as well. It's
Yeah.
not like I think that
Yeah.
product's going to do amazing. It's like, well, are people going to get to go on holiday? Are people
Yeah.
going to be spending money on shorts this
Is it
year?
going to be
Okay.
sunny?
Yeah, exactly.
There's all these
It's
external
a,
factors.
it's a
People
short
spending
window
habits
to
as
sell
well,
shorts
like-
as well.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
What do you say there, Sonny?
just people's spending habits have
Yeah.
totally changed
Yeah,
as
totally
well. Like
changed.
the way,
totally changed.
yeah. You
Yeah.
just got to make sure you've got the right thing. If
So
people are going to
how
be
do
selective.
how do you like obviously I know how, but how do you work out what you're going to buy and how much you're going to buy of each thing and when you're going to buy it?
I guess just kind of
Report City.
Report
Get
saying-
your report City.
That's one good thing about having like the Shopify, like the direct consumer.
All
Like
that
there's so much
information's
data.
there
All that
for
We
you.
information's
literally
just
are
there.
we're literally a data company
Yeah,
because
it's so
you
good
can
that you've
see
got
what
it.
everybody's
Yeah.
like buying habits are and what they're buying, what
Yeah.
they're buying with that, like the full
What they
look
bought
they're
on
making.
sale, what's
Yeah.
getting returned. You can look at everything. So yeah, I think that's how I kind of like the start of the
Because
season,
obviously
because
that's
you
what
get to look
you
at all
were
that.
doing a lot of that
Yeah,
before, and now
and now
Lisa's doing a lot
Miguel's
more
on
of
it.
it, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's like completely new for me kind of thing. It's but it's like you say, the information is there and it's interesting. It's maybe something I would have never have you think about, because when you're just like a product focused like. And maybe in like previous jobs or whatever, like you're there, you're dealing with the product, and when it's gone, and that's like like whereas we like, because again we're a small company, whatever, like you can then see how that performed and see how that thing is, and then
You
change
could
it
actually-
for
And I think there's
better or-
something you implemented to
Yeah.
start with was like the week's cover and stuff, and
Yeah.
Lisa's obviously
Yeah.
been taking that on and stuff like that. So explain what you do with that.
I guess just seeing like how when like products are released or whatever, you can then like track how it's performing throughout the time that it's online, and then we've got like a kind of trigger point when it gets to it's got a certain amount of weeks cover left. That's good for a restock. That's when you want it to come back in.
How many like new customers or percentage are
Yeah,
buying that
uh-huh.
product? So
Yeah,
it's like you kind of know if it's a new customer that high and the rate's really high. You're like, well, that's a winner for
Yeah,
us
'cause it's
because
like-
everybody, the majority of people would buy into that. So if they're buying that, then repeat customers are more likely to get that as well.
Yeah.
It'd be quite interesting. It's like say what we done with see going on the returns. Like there was a really high percentage on a cargo pant the end of last year, and what actually we tweaked that. We like with having different fits and stuff like that. Then it's like
confuse them.
Kind
maybe-
of unified.
Well, also
Yeah.
you can learn from the customer's return, like the data. Like
Yeah.
obviously, if you're getting returns, there's an issue for that, whether it's too big, too slim,
Yeah.
too much. Do you know
like
I mean?
what we
You can
done
tweak.
with the jeans. Like
that
it was
the
like a
whole
kind of
overview, wasn't it?
overview, like why are like, so you can look at a return, like there's so many returns or whatever, all that stuff, but like actually why, like
Yeah,
what's
like,
the
actually
reason,
break
how
it
do
down
we
into-
change that, how do we like,
Because it was
Because
one
it
of
had
our
a lot on
best-selling
its pie
categories,
charts.
wasn't
Yeah.
it? So we had a lot of data in it.
with the Linden cargo as well. That was the one that
Yeah.
was coming back for like it was the average return rate on Be Inspired's like 10-11%, where this cargo pant had like I think it was a little bit a fair bit higher. So we're like, right, we're just going to see on the next order, let's just relax it, take it to the same size as the Rivero one, and
having that there and knowing that was working.
Yeah,
was good because then it becomes less of a thingy. Whereas
That's
before we might have thought, oh, that's the London, like that's our go-to cargo pant.
the
Like
London.
that's like
if you only had that one fit and it was selling really well, you shouldn't be changing it. But if you've got a Rivero there that you've got a different fit and it's doing as well, do you know what I mean? And your returns are less on it, then you obviously need to be. Yeah, so things like that obviously really help your job, do you know what I mean?
Definitely.
Yeah, good. Good.
Well, what's your inspiration, Robbo? Mark told us his, but you never told us yours.
Well, what did you say yours was?
He said his has changed.
He said his was the product development team.
we had this debate.
Sure.
We had this debate this morning actually. It was like, because he said to me, "Oh, you'd probably still be working recruitment," but I know I wouldn't. I couldn't because I just nah. It's just
TV or something.
But then I did say that like that's the inspiration, isn't it?
Not
doing something, because I said usually inspiration or something really good comes out of like a bad I don't know.
No, I mean
like
a situation you're not happy with.
I'm not happy with that situation. I need to change it. It doesn't come from a situation where like I'm pretty happy. I'm quite content. Like I've got a decent life. It's like, well, if I'm quite content. If I go and change that and I lose it all, then I'm like, oh. Whereas like if you've got kind of like at that place where you've not really got anything to lose.
Nothing to lose.
Do you know what I mean? But then once you've got that, then you're fighting to keep.
Now you're fighting to keep.
Well, that's essentially like the fighting to keep. Like I hate getting beat at anything. Even like yesterday, I lost at the golf match, and
got beat by a 65-year-old at golf.
See, yesterday I was raging myself.
Got beat by my dad at golf. His
dad's 10 years older than the guy I got beat by. But no, honestly, just like I hate getting beat at stuff, and maybe he doesn't come across as that. Like, Rob was quite happy with it. I hate getting beat.
He's seething
underneath.
When they go home.
Do you know what I mean? Like, just like, so it probably comes into the, see if things aren't going well, like with the business or anything like that, it like eats away at me. I'm like,
I think
how do we get better than that?
Where we are is because we've got a competitive edge from football.
Yeah, that definitely comes from like our backgrounds. And football, like, maybe people thought when me and Mark maybe played football, I was like, oh, they were like nice guys and all that, but like the reason we were footballers for so long is because like you've got that burning desire in you. It's like, I'm not giving up here. It's like I'm just going to keep going, hang about long enough.
Just hang a bit.
hang about for another contract.
I thought that, like, just not giving up, no matter what. It's maybe not like a fierce, aggressive, like competitive edge, but I just won't stubbornness. I won't give up no matter what.
I've got that fear of failure. I hate like the fear of failure drives me forward. Like,
totally.
I think it's quite suited to the fashion industry as well.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, does that come across in the brand maybe a little bit?
I would say so. Being on the inside and I'm like on the outskirts. I would say so. Yeah.
I think one of Mark's friends said last week was, "You're just non-stop, aren't you?"
He's our non-stop.
He's our non-stop.
I thought I was a fidget non-stop, but you're our next level.
It was actually a girl I know. She was like seen the podcast and she messaged me saying that's class, and then she was like, "You just didn't stop doing." And I was like, "No, not really."
I think you would get bored. You need something to do. You're always on to the next thing, which is good.
There's maybe a day, it's like, say, Tuesday morning, and Mark's like, what are you up to? He says, I'm bored. What the hell are we going to do to make this better? And that's the way, like...
don't ever be bored. You can't be bored when you've got a business.
Nah, because there's always
something to do.
There's always something to do. Like, you can kind of force us. Even like today, we're talking about, like, question and answers on TikTok. So if anybody does have any questions like for the TikTok page, then we'd be happy to answer. I've just actually looked, like, my battery's on. It's just sucked 11 daylights out of my battery.
Will it still be going though?
I'm not sure. It's
not gonna lie, mate, I don't think so.
Yeah, we went live on TikTok, so we'll do that from now on. We're gonna
obviously just to sort of finish up, like, did you guys all go, like, obviously anyone watching this, you're a design team, a lot of people probably would be watching this, but like, how do you get into that sort of design environment? Like, what route did you guys go to get to here?
Good show.
Quite traditional, I would say.
Yeah, but what is that? Like,
went to college, went to uni, graduated at uni.
What course did you do at uni for, like, to do what you're doing?
I did fashion technology. I was going to do fashion business, but I liked that fashion technology. You got the kind of business side, but you also, like, you knew how a product was made. Like, you could make something from start to finish, and I think that's important when you're in this industry, actually knowing the construction of a garment. And
I feel people that went to uni are a wee bit more organised than what boys did.
I don't know.
Yes
Cut
or
to
no?
me the night before
Yes
my
or no?
hand and still so
Melting samples crying on the kitchen floor.
And I think just trying to do as much kind of volunteering as possible as you can. Like,
Okay.
So did you volunteer with other companies and brands and stuff like that?
yeah, they're just like kind of random things. Like, my friend, she was a makeup artist and she was doing a fashion show. And she was like, "Do you want to be a runner? Vivienne Westwood clothes are going to be in this." And I was like,
Oh, cool.
"Sign me in." Aye, it was running about doing stuff, but you kind of got to see like how everything was working.
That's how Gillian's good at making cups of tea. Just running.
I should be good.
I
Running.
do make a
cups
good,
of
I
tea,
do
but
make
I'm
a
not.
good cup of tea.
But
It's too
yeah.
milky for the
I think
cups
one
of
of the
tea.
things that, like, just even you saying that, Gav, was like when I was doing photography, I was a runner. I think like it
I
goes
think
to
it
show
is.
people
It's the
probably see
experience.
people's like end goal, like
Yeah.
I want that, but then not a lot of the time do they realise what you had to actually do
You
to
need to
get
change your
there.
bins
do you
and
know
you
what I
make folk tea.
mean?
Don't ever think you're too good to do it. And I think,
Exactly.
No.
Yeah, you're right.
and then yeah, that was it pretty much. And then my college lecturer put me in touch with someone who was looking for a garment technologist, and I did that. And then I was introduced to you.
How many years
someone.
has that been now? You've been
What date was that? Because that would have been a good day of your life that you were introduced to us, wasn't it?
That was by. Well, I didn't actually work for you until
that was-
No, you didn't, did you?
in March.
You
We
came to
went-
Turkey, to be
yeah,
fair.
we went to Turkey.
Just because we had so much product to measure
Yeah,
that
to
time, we
help
only
us
had one
out.
person at that point, didn't we?
And that was good. So that was kind of like a week-long interview. And then I remember you were like, "Oh, you're really going to get on with Robbo?" And I'm like, "That means I'm going to get a job. That means I'm going to get a job." Took like 2 months later. I was like,
Was that? Is that what it was?
Months.
That's because I wasn't there,
And then-
Steph.
Think
If I was
you
there,
were
I'd give you a
Aye.
job.
And then that was me. Yours was quite similar, wasn't it?
Did you go down the similar route, like to?
Similar, but mine was kind of back to front. So I went to uni first. I went to Glasgow School of Art and done textile design, and then I went to college afterwards because after I graduated, I was like, it was mainly kind of textiles and pattern based things that I did, and it was like I want to get into the clothing side. I knew it was design I wanted to do. I knew it was clothing I wanted to do. So I went back and done fashion technology at college instead, and kind of learnt, like Steph was
Is that the
saying,
same course?
Yeah.
the basics. Yeah, just done it like the other way
Right.
around.
Right, yeah.
But it was quite good. I'm glad I did that because I
That
felt
college
like
course was
I knew
great.
exactly what I wanted to get out of it. Because I was a wee bit older than like a couple of like some of the other students that were there. So I done that, and then we worked at the same place. So I started off as a junior garment tech, and only done that for a short period of time.
Oh yeah, you jumped about, didn't
I know.
you?
I went between all departments because I
Got
knew I wanted
it.
to get to design. So
So just try
I was
to
like,
weasel
doing
those
my,
things.
I was like doing my jump between
Sweet
departments.
Ryan.
A wee bit like
I
us,
think
Gillian. Just
it's
hang about long enough, you'll get a job.
Exactly.
That's what
No,
happens.
Don't give
I
up.
think it stood me in good stead. So I started off as a junior garment tech for like a wee short period of time, then went into product development, then went into design, and I've been doing that like ever since really.
Yeah.
So it was kind of just like a kind of stepping stone to get to the design side.
I think that's good you've been in all those departments though, because then it gives you
It's
all
good
that
because I've had
knowledge of,
like,
I've had
uh-huh.
experience in all of it. So like I know if you guys are talking about the fit or something, and it's I need to like take something off, or if it's for the price or for the fit.
Why are you
like,
laughing when you said
you
price?
compromise on
Because
it.
I'm always like, Gillian.
I know. Like
me, me and
take all
Mark
the
come in, we
pockets
want
off.
this, want that pocket, I want this.
I know.
So
No,
what
like,
like manage
fairness,
the
have you got-
expectations?
That t-shirt's
Nah,
going to
pockets
cost
with no zips.
350 quid.
I give you a zip with no pocket. in it.
I know. Just a little mock
Cheers,
one.
guys.
Yeah, so I kind of was back to front with the like education side of it, with uni then college, but yeah, just worked my way through. But like Steph said, just doing bits of helping out with things, fashion shows, like going and doing different experience.
Think so.
What about yourself, Lise?
Kind of much the same. It took me a minute to kind of figure out like
It's been a minute.
it's been a minute.
Been a minute.
It's been a minute.
To like kind of figure out like where I always loved fashion, but I don't think I was ever like creative enough for design or anything like that. And then when I left school, I went and studied maths at uni.
Oh, yeah,
I was
see,
nearly
that's-
going to be a teacher, and then I ended up going to college and doing fashion, and that's when I kind of discovered the practical side of things, like pattern cutting, sewing, and that, like, and then you hear about like what a garment technologist job kind of is, and then from college to uni, and then I was the same. Also worked for the girls in my first job out of uni as well, and then yeah.
But I think
Just
because you
gonna
did
take it
maths, I
from
think
there.
that's why you're really you've got a pure analytical and like your technical mind's
Aye.
great. So I think
I
that's,
don't think it's like far
not-
off
yeah,
kind of thing. It's the
good
same
vibe.
kind of thinking, I suppose.
Yeah.
Set you up for the new
Yeah.
reports in your buying now as well.
Yeah.
Any
So
funny stories for being inspired, girls?
Where do we
Dunno.
start?
Ask
like
Gav
to tell
this.
you.
We got
I
enough
actually
time?
wish we asked Gav this earlier last week because I
Any
think
funny
we've had loads of good
Yeah,
feedback
it's
on
good
Gav. He
stories,
is
don't
good stories from photo shoots and stuff. I used to enjoy it. Like, we've not been to Turkey for ages. We used to go to the factories and just wander about, and used to go like Salt Bay and stuff like that.
Socialising.
It was your birthday. And
I've never seen you more mortified.
It
What's
was
that?
absolutely mortifying.
It was in the December.
Remember they came out with the cake?
Yeah.
And Mark
Salt
was just
Bay came
like,
out this.
Mark was like slinking under the table, like, oh my god.
he died inside. I'm like, happy birthday.
Remember when we went to China, man? China was good, wasn't it?
China was off a good eye.
It was an experience.
It was an experience.
What was some of the places we went, man?
What
in the
was
middle
that?
of
Some
nowhere.
of the things you ate.
Oh Jesus!
Aye,
What-
the hot pot was a good one. That was class.
Hot pot.
Was
I wasn't there, and that
good?
gives me the
was
vote.
that at the trainer factory? And afterwards,
Yeah.
so Steph's a vegetarian.
That was
So basically, there was
awful.
2 pots of soup, and then you'd order from the iPad what you wanted.
There was a
then they'd
spicy, there was a
What was it,
spicy
an
pot of
iPad?
soup and a normal
Yeah.
tomato
A
pot of
normal.
soup.
So
Yeah.
Steph being the vegetarian, I ordered the shrimp. I thought, well, I'll go with shrimps. I'll be
How did the
safest,
shrimps come, Robbo?
safest like option.
alive.
Yeah. So
Alive.
basically,
On a
the
stick.
shrimps came out on this wee set, and they're going
They were like
on
still
the
wriggling.
sticks.
And then
So
they
then the
just
boy just went in with the soup, and you hear them in the soup. Going,
Rob was like, I'm a vegetarian
No,
now.
Robbo was like, "Oh, is that a shrimp?"
Honestly,
No, you were nearly
I wasn't
going
going to eat them.
You weren't going to eat
I
them.
wasn't going to eat them. It was
Remember when
it was
they
us,
put the little
us 3 and
liquids on
Emma,
it,
and
John?
Emma she wasn't caring. She was
I
eating
definitely
them.
ate something questionable, like beef intestine.
It was
something.
not
Remember
a
the tongue,
cow's.
the
Was it a
tongue, the
tongue?
hairy.
Oh, it wasn't great.
Aye,
It
that
wasn't
was-
great. It was
I,
like
I was good at like not eating that full week. Like my stomach just went.
you used
You're
to
not
eat
hungry.
chips. You
You
used to
came,
eat
you
chips,
came
didn't
back,
you?
you're like, I'm
It was
starving.
when you.
Chips.
It was when you went away to the toilet, Steph, and the boy at the factory owner was with us, and he was desperate to get some of that soup, but then he wanted to put his cook his meat in the soup. So,
Did they put it
so
in
you
it?
went
As soon
away.
as you went to
You went to
toilet,
the toilet. You went, "Sss," and we were like, "Mate, you can't do that. She's a vegetarian." He's like, "Oh, sorry."
Was it
That's-
pepperoni though? Because that's okay.
No, it wasn't.
Steph's a
not.
vegetarian that takes pepperoni off the top of her
Remember they were
pizza.
taking
Yeah.
videos of
It's
us and
just a
stuff
bit-
like walking around the factory.
Ah, yeah, so they.
Well,
2 years were like pure movie stars and they walked in there like that.
Yeah.
It's because I'm a fit model.
A fit model.
Yeah, the jeans, going into the jeans place.
They were pure as hey, Robbo.
You're like
That was a good 5 years ago. Unfortunately.
You're a TikTok star now.
At least it's your number one fan.
Territory here.
We got that last time we were in Manchester. We were walking around the shops doing some research, and this wee guy came up to Robbo and he was like, "Oh, I see you on TikTok all the time." And I was like, "Oh,
Why in
you're
Manchester?
TikTok
Robbo just
famous
turned around
now."
and said, "You can't get famous twice, mate."
Mr. Worldwide sitting right there.
Yeah,
Mr. Dundee.
I was getting that.
We
Like,
went to Dundee. He was taking us around. We went to Christmas night out.
So I don't know if you've seen
It had all the. It had all
Fat
the.
Sam's.
Fat
Sam's.
Robbo was taking us.
Robbo was like this on one arm, and the other one. And Pure walked up and he's like, that's Robbo. That's Robbo. That's Robbo.
facts,
People
innit?
like mine had people like
just facts. Honestly.
so famous Robbo
Couldn't help
Hearts.
To be fair, I was getting a bit of stick on Friday. We had I don't know if you've seen the golf event that we played in.
Oh, yeah.
Go to Elite. So new company in Dundee. One of my friends is running it, and he invited us along. But we've done
We've done like a golf edit, so we were
Yeah.
obviously like wanted to sort of showcase that in
I
the
was here
film
for
as well.
that.
Yeah.
So with this new company, Go to Elite, they had a charity dinner that it was like a Q&A thing. Ex-footballer, I think there was an Olympic champion there for curling.
nice.
So Des McEwen was
till you hear this.
was interviewing us. So Darren, who's the owner of Go to Elite, basically said like, right, Robbo, bring your like a reel of stuff, and I'll make a wee banner for you. Eh?
I know it sounds good, but your face is not saying that it was good.
Yeah.
Just
So
listen to the story.
basically, we got
Is
to
it
the
street
golf
style in the
bit.
middle?
I didn't say obviously didn't say anything about the banner or anything like that when we done the charity dinner.
Okay.
So Darren said last week, "Oh, I'll make sure the banner and all that's up," and I'm like, "Oh, fuck, right, okay." So they put the banner up at the golf event, but it's literally a life-size cutout of me.
Please tell us you've got
It's
a
about
goal.
that. It's about that size. It's about that size. Gotta get in there before him. Get in there before him.
You've done well.
So literally, we've got models that would pay a fortune for in all these cool locations. We images like that, and then me
He's
with
right.
the Brentford jacket on from the Brentford photo shoot that me and
nice.
Owen done. Owen's cut out. Forget about Owen. I'm in the. It's just me in the jacket at the golf event.
And you got a photo.
But they had it at charity dinner as well.
It was funny though because the boy was like, "Oh look, Robbo, who's this guy?" And it's Creason was filming, just happened to be filming Robbo at the time. He's like, "Mate, have you brought your own videographer?" I was like, "Aye, mate, he's just brought. It's not even filming. He's just filming Robbo."
It's not even to be his friend. It's just my videographer.
Love that.
Try to think any other stories.
No, I think that's it, isn't it?
I think
Class
so.
having you girls
Ones that
on.
we're allowed to say, aye.
Yeah.
Aye.
What's next? Just crack on.
Oh, winter.
Been
No,
on.
spring, summer.
Spring,
one.
summer. Summers.
Yeah,
I
that's
can't believe
it.
you're that
So-
far in
What
advance.
What do you see
That's
coming? What's
class.
next,
Fine.
Gillian? What we're gonna have? Is there any trends? Like, it's always nice to like kind of start our own trend. Like it's probably like that. Remember like 2018, the chino check chino.
Yeah,
trend.
the
Yeah.
Definitely
Vieira
started
chino.
that.
And I think we were right at the
%.
start of the
Absolutely.
cargos as well,
Yeah.
weren't we? We were right at the
Here's a
forefront.
story. I actually wore a size.
What the
size
Vieiras,
8.
what they started out
That's
as.
when the chinos started. It was a
It was a
size
women's
8
size 8 trousers.
pair of women's chinos.
I don't know.
That's
you
impressive
know
to get into them.
Is that not what the look has started out as well?
No, they were just skinny jeans.
yeah,
we
they're
were
skinny.
steaming.
Oh,
Yeah,
Just
well,
women,
I-
Joe, just women.
So
Tell
you
them
know.
that one about
We-
skinny
we
jeans.
went to the factory, smashed.
We were so.
after the night out.
I was so
Basically had
hungover.
a meeting with one factory, and then they knew we were meeting another factory the next day.
We didn't have to try to
So
get
he
you
took
steaming,
me
so you
out.
never went.
Yeah, took me out, got me.
You know,
got
you
us
know,
both
you know the
hammered.
culprit.
Aye, absolutely.
Got us both hammered, so we wouldn't go to the next factory the next day. But I was like, nah, I'm getting up. So
Don't back down. Double down.
got up. and
To
then
be fair,
we ended up
Marco'll stay out the longest, but
Yeah.
he'll definitely get up the earliest if there's a.
Aye,
Whereas
that's a
I'm
fair
like,
point.
nah, nothing
will.
good happens after 2 o'clock ever.
meeting
Beg to
soldier
differ.
on, didn't you?
But anyway,
Soldier
we
on.
went to
Soldier on,
went
man.
to this factory and I think we ordered about 3,000 pairs of these jeans,
Yeah,
skinny jeans.
steaming.
Aye.
These look alright.
I think they actually look
Through
quite
one
nice
eye.
on.
Still selling it with these this day.
That's it.
Best
Still
sellers.
selling it.
Is that
Fucking
what,
great.
you ordered about
I
10,000
knew you were
pairs of
going
them,
to
didn't
say
you?
3,000 pairs. I knew you were going
I know,
to
I was wait- I
They
was
lasted
waiting
for
for
a
that.
year, didn't they?
This did not happen.
It did happen.
I don't even really know what happened, but I seem to get the blame for it.
See the price of stuff
3,000
now, Steph.
jeans
That'd
did
eat up the
happen.
budget.
7,000,
It
I
wasn't
think
me.
it was.
But did they all sell?
Absolutely.
Oh, there
Pure
you go.
profit, you know.
Pure profit. I have.
Committing to that quantity.
You tell Andy that they were pure
They were
profit.
pure profit. I'll tell Andy, pure profit. Aye.
Aye, that's
Well,
class.
Thanks for coming on, guys. That
Thanks,
was great.
Thanks for having us.
You're welcome
Yeah.
anytime.
It wasn't as
Anything.
scary
Any
as we
guests?
thought.
Who'd you like to see us like guest wise? Who could we get on next?
Martin Compson.
Yeah.
I know we've been saying Mark
Everybody
Constant.
loves
I
Mark
did say I would
Constant,
do the
don't
tea
they?
run that day.
You're a
I just
likeable
think-
fella.
You back to doing tea runs for Martin
I
Constant?
did. I didn't mind.
Oh, there you go.
And then-
Yeah.
Even though you do your tea bags in that way, in the order.
I tell us your.
I feel
like
How'd
he's
you
gonna
make
need
cup
to
tea?
follow
Right, this is
something
a
on this.
question. We're going to do a poll.
Yeah, do a
okay?
poll.
Right, do a poll.
How do you make a cup of tea?
You put the tea bag in the cup, you put the milk in the cup, then you put the water in and you let it brew.
When does the sugar go in here?
I don't take sugar in my tea.
But when would you put my sugar in?
I put your sugar in when I put the tea bag in.
And
In
the
fact,
milk.
no, you take sugar, you
Honestly,
get a
that's a
sweetener.
jail
Do you not put it
sentence.
in
Yeah,
at
to send her to jail. Do not
It's
pass go.
unacceptable. You can't put tea bag milk. It's got to be tea bag hot water, stir with sugar,
'cause
stir.
then it goes like-
take the tea bag out,
what
then
is
you
it?
add the milk.
Yeah, just
Oh,
a
wow.
splash at
But
the
how-
end.
But what if, like, how
If you put too much
certain
milk
colour
in.
you like your tea? You know what I mean? How
Exactly.
do you judge
Just
how
be
strong
a
your
I feel
tea
like
is?
it makes
be a
it
good tea
taste
maker, and
nicer.
then you know the colour.
Nah.
My mum makes the hottest cup of tea in the world. Honestly, I don't even know how.
I think it's
No,
time to end
honestly,
it.
honestly,
Mrs. Ross,
no,
isn't it?
listen,
I've
honestly,
had it.
it's the hottest cup of tea. I don't know. Do you want a cup of tea with your with your food? Yeah, I'll take it. It takes about half an hour to
Scalding.
cool it. How is it so
Scalding.
hot?
Right, there you go,
Super
get a
hot
poll
kettle.
done.
Yeah, get a poll done.
How do you make your tea?
Yeah.
Hi, Gillian's going
So
on.
like
by the way.
milk first,
Ah.
tea bag, milk, water. I know most conventional people will do tea bag, water, milk.
What most normal
However,
people- What do you mean?
Normal people.
behave. However,
Trendsetter.
after
it.
you've
Yeah,
heard
that's
this,
it.
try it. Let us know how you got on.
There we go.
Tastes
Right,
better.
okay, deal.
Trust
There
the
you go.
process.
Let's
Yes,
do it.
Just, there we go.
Trust the process.
It's a lovely way to end it.
That's all we get.
Oh, thanks very much,
Nice
girls.
round
I
up.
appreciate
Cheers,
it.
guys.
Thank you.
Brilliant.
See you.
Superb.
Bye.